Good morning. I am Colonel Ancia Sumpico of the Rhode Island State Police. Thank you for attending this media advisory. This is in reference to an investigation that occurred in 1985. I will now ask Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Philbin, our Chief Investigative Officer, to discuss the arrest of a non-custodial parent and the location of 2 missing children from this 1985 case.
Thank you, Colonel. Good morning. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Philbin, the Chief Investigative Officer for the Rhode Island State Police. On August 26th, 1985, Elaine Yates, date of birth 9/26/47, and her 2 children, Kimberly Yates, 3.5 years old, and Kim Yates, 10 months old, went missing from their residence at 36 Sales Avenue in Warwick. The next day, the husband and father, Russell Yates, filed a missing persons report with the Warwick Police Department. After an investigation, the Warwick Police determined that Mrs. Yates and 2 children were safe and in good health, and that Mrs. Yates was seeking a divorce from Russell Yates. On November 18th, 1985, Russell Yates obtained a court order giving him custody of the missing children. At this time, Russell Yates brought the complaint to the state police. After a lengthy investigation and tracking down of numerous leads, an arrest warrant was issued by the courts for Elaine Yates on 2 counts of child snatching. This warrant was issued on October 14th, 1988. During the 3-year time period that the case was being investigated, legislation was passed and a new child snatching law was enacted. This law is what Elaine Yates was eventually charged with. Over the past 31 years, numerous leads have been investigated with negative results. Days before Christmas this past year, members of our Major Crimes Unit received information that Elaine Yates was living in Houston, Texas under an alias name with her daughters. After a thorough investigation, detectives were able to locate Elaine Yates in Houston, Texas under an alias name, and her 2 children were also located in Houston under alias names. Licensed photographs and social media accounts were located and confirmed all of their identities. The Attorney General's Department was consulted, and it was determined that Elaine Yates should be taken into custody in Houston, Texas, and arraigned as a fugitive. Yesterday at approximately 12:30 p.m., Elaine Yates was taken into custody by members of the Texas Department of Public Safety, along with detectives from the Major Crimes Unit of the Rhode Island State Police. She was processed and arraigned in front of a court magistrate, where she waived extradition to the state of Rhode Island. Mrs. Yates confirmed her identity and was interviewed by our detectives. Mrs. Yates is currently en route to Rhode Island and will be arraigned in 3rd District Superior Court tomorrow morning. Both daughters, Kelly and Kimberly Yates, were located and interviewed, but their current identities will not be released, and the missing persons complaint will be closed out at this time. As a result of this department's accreditation standards, we conduct annual reviews of cold cases, which allows for us to continuously update and review previous cases using updated technology. This updated technology greatly assisted in locating the Yates family. At this time, I'd like to thank the Department of Public Safety from Texas, Shannon Signori from the Department of Attorney General, she's the head of the Chief of the Child Abuse Unit, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Is there any questions?
What are the charges against Mrs. Yates?
It's 2 counts of child snatching.
And what's the penalty?
It's undetermined at this time what the penalty is.
Ms. Signori?
At this time, it's still under investigation, and the charges that she will be arraigned on are still yet to be determined.
But at least 2 counts of child.
It'll be a fugitive for more arraignment.
Yes.
What was the reaction of the 2 adult children?
I can't really discuss what was said with the 2 adult children. Obviously, they were surprised, but that's all I can really comment on.
Surprised, relieved? Did they know that they were living under assumed names? Is there any?
Unfortunately, I can't comment on that. It's still part of an ongoing investigation.
Is their father still living in Rhode Island? And what
He
was
is.
his reaction?
The father was contacted by the head of our Major Crimes Unit, our Assistant Detective Commander, yesterday, and he's still living in Warwick, Rhode Island, and he understands what's going on.
Have you put him in touch with his daughters? Or?
His information was given to his daughters, and that's up to them if they want to make communication. It didn't go vice versa. Their information was not given to him.
How, this was a big deal at the time.
It was, yes.
So now that it's closed out, I mean, satisfaction to that, or?
Can't really comment. It's satisfaction on whose part.
The police's part. I mean, is this a Warwick case primarily, a state police case?
I think we both worked it together, and we're both happy to see it come to some kind of conclusion.
I'm guessing there's no one around today that was involved in the case at that time? Or?
From Warwick Police, no, and from the state police, they've all retired since.
The children
circumstances that led to her abducting the two children?
Unfortunately, I can't. That's part of the ongoing investigation.
Did they have, or did she have any contact with anybody here in Warwick, like her mother, for example, who died several years ago?
That's undetermined. That's still under investigation also.
Are you looking at arresting anybody else who could have been the accessory in the abduction case?
Unfortunately, I can't comment on that. Like I said, it's an ongoing investigation.
It's one of the longest standing child abduction cases the state police have been involved in.
It's from as long as I can remember. Yes, it is.
The children are both now in their 30s. Did they appear to be raised well? Were they?
All I can say is they were in good health. They appeared in good health.
And they were all living in the same home?
No, they weren't. They weren't.
So they were all in Houston?
Yes, they were.
And you can't comment on whether they knew about their real past?
Unfortunately, I can't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
In terms of custody, at the time that they went missing, did the mother not have any custody, or was it,
When they went missing, the parents were obviously still married, so they both had custody of the children. Yes.
So how do you, can you talk a little bit more about how you got information about this 31 years later?
It was an anonymous tip that was received by our major crimes unit.
Anonymous tip from someone here or someone there? Or?
I can't confirm that.
when did you receive the tip?
2 days before Christmas, I believe.
And the tip was like, his mother and their daughters are living in Texas, or?
Can't comment on that, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Can you speak to how rare it is that we're standing here today talking about a 31-year-old case?
It is pretty rare. It is, and that's why we treated it this way. We wanted everybody to have the most facts we could get out there, because it was a pretty high-profile case back in the day. I don't really remember myself, but as researched, it was very high-profile back. It's been on several TV shows, America's Most Wanted, missing children shows, and a lot of assistance was put out there to try and locate the children.
Can you talk at all about the technology that was used to try to find these girls?
Sure, court records, court databases, Facebook, license photographs, everything was used.
Court records, have they been arrested before, or what other kind of?
No, any kind of court records if they had appeared in courts and, legal names and things like that, but mostly the Facebook and the license photographs were the greatest assistance.
You talked about the fact that once you had located her, there was a decision to be made to go ahead and press charges.
Yes.
What was that decision process like? Now it's been 30 years now.
Well, that's probably why we want to make sure the Attorney General's Department knew what we were doing. It's a 31-year-old warrant, so any kind of a warrant is that old, you want to make sure it's still in the system, still valid, which it was, so we had to act on that.
Was it really easy for her to change their names and hers as well? I mean,
She was successful for 31 years. It couldn't.
she was. I mean,
Yeah.
do you know much about their trail and how they got from Rhode Island to Houston? Did they go to Houston immediately, or have they been all over the country?
I can't really comment. I just know we've received sightings from all over the country, actually the world, in the last 30 years. Canada, Oregon, Colorado, Florida, Oklahoma, everywhere you can really imagine.
Was she arrested without incident? Could you speak to what she looked like if she was in?
I can say she was arrested without incident, yes.
Do you have a mugshot or something?
I don't have one now, right now.
Is there one available that can be available?
I'm sure we can make one available. After she's taken to court tomorrow. It can't be put out there today. We can make it tomorrow.
She is en route currently and will
Yes.
be in court tomorrow in?
3rd District Superior Court, Kent County Superior Court.
Do you believe she was in Houston the whole time, that she immediately fled to Houston, or was she in multiple locations when you saw the sightings over her?
Unfortunately, I can't comment on that this time.
Do the girls have children now as well? I mean, is the father maybe possibly reunited with grandchildren?
That's up to them. I can't comment on their families, but that's up to the family themselves, whether they want to get back
Do they
together.
have children now?
They have families themselves, yes.
Is there a reason the dad didn't get contact information for the kids with the kids status for him?
Just an area side of caution.
Is it clear if the girls knew that their father was still alive?
I can't really comment on that either, I'm sorry.
The message, the takeaway from all this, would you say, from a law enforcement perspective?
Well, like I mentioned, because of our accreditation status, we do look at these cases every year, and it's our practice when new detectives come into the Bureau, we'll assign them one of these cold cases just to get a set of fresh eyes, because sometimes if you keep looking at it, you're going to see it one way. And we do. I was assigned to the case at one time. I think there's several detectives that are assigned. It brings a fresh perspective every time. So I think most detectives are pretty familiar with this case. We only have about 10 or 15 high-profile, active, open cases like this, so we assign young detectives to take a whole thorough look at it. Obviously, without the tip, we're in a good place right now because of that anonymous tip that was received.
Yet it was a tip.
Yes, that's correct.
That opened the case.
That's right.
Who are the lead detectives on this? Who are you crediting?
The lead detective, Detective Adam Kennett.
Adam, I'm sorry?
Adam Kennett, Kennett, and Detective Ruth Hernandez. Yes.
Was this tip different than other ones you've received that made it more credible?
No, I can't say there was more. It was different. They all come along the same lines, but we investigated every tip we had, just like this one.
Had any previous tips that you to Houston or to Texas?
I can say no, they haven't. No, none of them brought us to that area.
What was Elaine's job? What was she doing?
I can't really comment on what she was doing down there. I don't want to give out too much information on her.
Any idea how long they were in Houston, though?
I don't have any idea, no.
She go by Lena Wahlberg, was that?
Yes, she went by Lena Wahlberg. Lena. I believe it was Leina Wahlberg.
And the arrest was just yesterday?
Yes, it was yesterday.
Was she arrested at her home? Or?
She was.
Yeah.
Yes, she was.
Were the girls with her at the time?
No, they were not.
They're gotta be in their 30s probably.
I believe it's 34. I'm not sure their actual ages right now.
Yeah.
Could you talk, I'm sorry, I can leave it.
That's okay.
What were the circumstances when the children were taken? You said they were, they were married.
Mhm.
And what happened? Can you just talk a little bit about the history of how these children went missing?
I really can't comment on that part of the investigation. That was handled by the Warwick Police. All I can say is they went missing on August 26, 1985, and the case was brought to us sometime after that in November that year by Russell Yates.
And again, the parents were not divorced at the time, they both.
Correct. That's correct. Yes.
Is there a statute of limitations on child snatching?
There is not.
Were the girls notified only after their mother was arrested yesterday?
That's correct.
How did you go about doing that?
The detectives made notification with them down in Houston.
Visited each one of their homes?
Correct.
But they're in Texas both.
Yes, they are. The daughters are, yes.
Did you say that they're married, or what are they?
I don't want to give out too much information on the daughters.
Can you say also, other than Houston, have you been anywhere else?
I can't really comment on their whereabouts prior to Houston. We've investigated leads all over the country. I'm not sure if they were there or not.
Do you have a case similar to this, or is this just unusual, one of a kind?
This is pretty rare, I think, for us, and I was glad we came to an end, to be honest with you.
To be clear, the kids, the children are now grown, but do they live in Houston also, in Texas?
They live in the Houston area, yes, they do.
In the Houston area.
Yes, they do.
You know, this story will attract international attention
Yes.
today. What do you hope to tell, what message do you hope to get across to other families that perhaps are going through similar situations? I can think of a family in Colorado whose
Correct,
baby was
yeah.
snatched from the crib around the same time.
Just that the law enforcement should just keep looking like we were kind of vigilant with it every time we received a tip, or we just normally would assign a new detective to take a fresh look at it, and you always got to keep looking. And no tip is frivolous. You have to look into each one of them.
The father, Russell, was he emotional when you first told him that this had finally come to an end?
I wasn't there when they told him. I think he was relieved, I believe, would be the best word to say.
He was told in person that it's.
He was, yes. Immediately after the arrest, we set it up so as soon as she was taken into custody, Russell was notified.
Did he know all along that you were doing this investigation, that you'd gotten a tip and were pursuing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't know about the tip. No, he didn't. He's been contacted periodically. Every year or so we speak with him, if not more frequently, and just tell him we're still looking into it. We receive this. When we get a lead and we investigate it, we'll tell him, because sometimes you'll see it in the news,
Yeah.
and we investigate it, and there was no solution to it. And he's been kept abreast of everything going on.
But he didn't know that things had really heated up in the last month, that you had something that was really
He did not.
problem.
No, he did not.
Does he have any other children?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
What did social media play in, helping you break the case or whatever?
Well, I think the license photographs helped us the most, and then when we took those and applied them to social media, that gave us a little bit of a timeline and gave us some more, sound background to it.
You mean license photos of
The entire family, the mother and the daughters. It was pretty evident from looking at the license photographs, we were on the right trail.
Those advanced renderings that were 30 years ago.
Correct.
Looked good.
Correct, they looked, yeah, identical.
And can you just back up, and tell us, you said it was a tip that brought this, or the case was cold for all this time, and just, when did you get a tip, and just, can you take us through that process again?
We received the tip on December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. The last tip we received in this case, I believe, was a year and a half ago about some remains that were found in New Hampshire. Somebody felt they could have been the family. That was determined it wasn't. So we received tips periodically, but this one was received on December 23rd and investigated for a couple-day time period. We realized we had 99% sure we had the Yates family down in Houston. We took it to the next level and had the Department of Public Safety down there locate them, not contact them, but locate them and put them in a residence, just to confirm we were looking at the right people.
And so then you were watching them for 2 months?
We didn't watch them. We just made sure they were living what we thought they were living, and they were who we thought we were looking at the time. We couldn't do that themselves, and we want to also, again, thank the Department of Public Safety in Texas. They were a great assistance.
So then they were, they located this family, and then what happened from there?
They notified us that they were living at the residence we thought they were. We made arrangements for our detectives to travel to Houston. We consulted with the Attorney General's Department, made sure we had everything in line, and we sent our detectives down there.
And you went there with this 30-year-old warrant?
Well, we didn't, in our mind, she's just charged right now as a fugitive, so that's all we're looking at right now as a fugitive. She's a fugitive from the state of Rhode Island. We're not even addressing that's what she's being charged with the Rhode Island State Police from, as a fugitive.
But she's come back here.
Correct.
And can you just back up, so the 30 years ago, what happened? She took the kids and just ran out the door?
I think that's the big void. It's only she's gonna be able to tell us where she was. We haven't gotten to that yet.
Has she been cooperative?
Very. Yes.
I just meant, like, what happened, you just got a call of a missing mother and her 2 kids, can you just back up?
Well, no, Russell Yates, but the case was originally brought to Warwick Police and investigated. When they closed it out and Russell Yates obtained a court order saying he had custody of the children, he brought it to us. And we began investigating along with Warwick Police and the Attorney General's Department. So we exhausted all leads at that point, and it just kind of went in our cold case files that we looked at them, periodically.
Is it that easy for someone to take their kids and get away and reestablish themselves somewhere else, or 30 years later you have cell phone and technology that you have today?
Like I said, I think today's technology definitely assisted us. If we were back 30 years ago, we wouldn't have Facebook, we wouldn't have timeline photographs of license pictures, so it was definitely a great assistance.
And you can't tell us how the kids are, or?
I can't, I really want to comment on the kids, I don't want to put them too much in front of them.
But they knew that they were.
I'm not sure if they did, that's something that only they're going to be able to tell you.
But now the father will have custody of them, or what happens now?
Well, they're adults now, so.
What was she doing in Texas? What was her job?
I'm sorry, I can't really comment on her employment status.
Will they
Did she
be,
remarry?
So again, I can't really comment on that.
will they be reunited with their biological father, or what happens?
I think that's up to them. They're adults now, that's completely up to them.
What is she facing, or what's the,
That hasn't been determined yet.
or what the charges are, you mean?
The charges have been, like I said, in state police, we're charging her as a fugitive. The other charges will have to be looked at by the Attorney General's Department.
Is it a kidnapping charge?
It's called child snatching. The law was changed from 1985 to 1988 to child snatching. So that's eventually what she was charged with.
And what is that, what's the prison term of it?
Again, that's something we're going to have to discuss. We're going to work out with the Attorney General's Department. They'll be looking into.
Is there a bottom line message that you can run, but you can't hide, or they're gonna find you in the end, or what's the?
No, I mean, it's just law enforcement is vigilant. We're looking down these complaints. They don't stop looking. We have cases we still look at all the time. Not just us, Warwick Police Province, but everybody does it. I mean, you can't ignore, tips that come in, even though they sound ridiculous. You can't ignore them.
Can you tell us what the detectives, when they approached the house, whenever this was yesterday?
Yes.
It was Rhode Island State Police?
Correct.
Went to the house?
We had to have the Texas Department of Public, the Texas Rangers were with us from the Department of Public Safety. They weren't with us. Obviously, we have no enforcement capabilities down there. They had to take her into custody.
And what time did you go to, what was it, unannounced?
It was 12:30 p.m. Houston time yesterday afternoon.
And you just walked up to them, what happened?
Just knocked on the door, explained why we were there.
Wow. What was her reaction like?
I wasn't there, so I can't really And
What
that's
did they
something-
tell you the reaction was like?
They haven't really commented on it. They've been pretty busy down there trying to get her back up there safely.
Was she alone at the time?
I'm not sure, really.
So she wasn't living with her daughters at that location?
The daughters were not there at that location, I can say that much.
She lived there, this woman lived there by herself?
I'm not sure if she's by herself, but the daughters were not there at the house at the time.
But again, when you went to the door, it was, we're from Rhode Island, and we know you took your kids and we're arresting you as a fugitive from justice, or what was it?
I'm sure that's kind of the basis of what was said, but again, the Department of Public Safety from Texas took the lead since it is their state.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you. Thank you for attending.
Yeah, thank you.